Okay, so now that we talked a little bit about income and wages, we can finally talk about a particular example. So suppose there's this guy called Johnny McJohnface who works at a retail shop, and we wanted to calculate how much he earns per week if he works 16 hours per week at an hourly rate of $18.50. And this is on weekdays, right? And he also works 6 hours on the weekend at a time and a half rate. So I guess the keywords in this particular part of the question, time and a half rate means that he's getting paid 1.5, so it's a 50% extra over what he would normally get paid on weekdays. And this is quite normal in casual jobs when you work in things like retail or in restaurants. You would normally get paid a little bit more if you're working on a weekend. So I guess in this part of the question, what we want to really find out is how much money he's earning every week if he continues to work at the same rate and this same number of hours. And the second part of the question is going to be a little bit more complicated, so we're going to have to work backwards from there. But let's concentrate on question A first. So part A is telling us, okay, so he's working 16 hours on weekdays, and the rate is $18.50. But he's also working 6 hours on weekdays, and that is a rate of 1.5 times 18.50. So basically what we're going to do with this is we're just going to multiply that in our calculator, and that comes down to $27.75. And if we want to find the weekly amount of money, then all we need to do is we multiply 16 times 18.5, and then we're going to add this 27, so that's 6 hours, so that's 6 times 27.75. And let's punch that in our calculators. So 6 times 27.75, and that's gonna come down to 462.5. So this is how much money Johnny McJohnface is making every week. So that's not too bad. I mean, you could pay some rent for that if you're sharing with some other people, and at least you could buy food and all that. So it's a reasonably good job. I mean, you're only working 22 hours per week, which would be half of full time, so it's not too bad. But now question B is a little bit more complicated, because this is basically what we're being told. So the rate has now changed, and basically he's working 9 hours at a normal rate, 4 hours at a time and a half, and then 5 hours double time. So double time means that he's getting paid twice as much per hour as he would normally get paid. So normal rate is whatever he gets paid in 1 hour. Time and a half is that same rate multiplied by 1.5, and double time is multiplied by 2. So we're given that he earns a total of $507.50 every week. So we want to find out what the new hourly rate is. So we need to set up this question in the following way. So let's just count the hours that we have here. So we have 9, 4, and 5. So 9 hours, that's normal. So normal rate is essentially just times 1. So it doesn't really change. Then 4 hours of time and a half, so that's going to be times 1.5. And then 5 hours of double time, which is going to be times 2. And we're given that the total amount, so let's call it A, per week is $507.50. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to call the hourly rate, let's call it something like, let's think about it, let's call it P. So this is going to be the hourly rate. Now in order to solve for this, all we need to do is we need to set up an equation that involves the sum of all this, and then we're just going to calculate P from that. So in this case we have 9 hours at a normal rate, so basically that's just times 1, and that's going to be times the hourly rate P. So we're doing something similar to what we did here, but now we have to take into account the fact that we don't really know what the hourly rate is. We're going to add 4 times 1.5, so basically 4 times 1.5 times P. Okay, and then we have 5 hours of double time. That's going to be 5 times 2 times P. And then at this point, we can probably just simplify the right-hand side of this equation. So 4 times 1.5 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. And now we have 9 plus 6, that's 15, plus 10, that's 25p. 507.50. And now we want to find p, so all we do is we divide both sides of this equation by 25. So in the end, the hourly rate is going to come down to this. So we have 507.50 divided by 25, and let's see what that gives us. That's going to come down to $20.30, and this is per hour. So we can see from this result that clearly his hourly wage, his wage has increased because he's now earning more per hour. But is he working any more hours? So originally he was working 16 plus 6, that's 22 hours. Now he's working 9 plus 5, that's 14 plus 4, that's 18 hours. So he's getting paid a little bit more, almost $2 extra per hour, but he's only working 4 hours less than he was previously. And even though he's working less hours, he's now earning more money for that. So I guess that he got promoted, and then this is a good improvement because now he's getting more money by working less. And that's usually what you want to strive for when you get a job. You want to essentially just get promoted so that you can earn more per hour, and then you can work less over time and so on.